Hello and welcome to this contributor tutorial for the FA Forever community. My name is Brutus5000 and today I want to talk about how you can help running this community. As you might know, FA Forever is an open source project and it is run by the community and not run by the original authors of the game. So to keep this community alive, we need people helping this project, and the important thing is everybody can help this project. You don't have to be a developer. This is why this is mentioned. This is named the contributor tutorial. The goals for this tutorial. I want you to learn about the organization of FAF, so you know whom to contact if you need some help. And I want you to learn where you could bring in your personal skills. And most of all, most important thing for me is I want to squash the myth that you need to know coding to help on FAF. This is wrong on so many levels, but you will see it soon. Before we start on the areas where you could help, let's first talk a bit about the leadership in FAF. These guys, these roles on this slide here are also known as the Council of Settings. Most of these roles are assigned internally. Some of them are voted by the player base. There's some rotation. This is why I'm not giving any names out here. This is supposed to be independent of any people. So first of all, we have the administration counselor. He's a legal representative of FAF. FAF is technically a company in the USA, and if we need to make contracts, for example renting a server, somebody needs to make this contract, somebody needs to pay the company for that, and this is the responsibility of the administration counselor, manage the money and do the contracts, and basically that's it about this role. Then we have the balance counselor, which has the only and very important responsibility on game balance for regular forged lines. So we're not talking about other mods like Nomads or Phantom X or whatever. The balance is especially about the competitive balance in ladder, but of course also partially for custom games. Then we have the DevOps counselor. By the way, that's me currently. He's responsible for running the FAF infrastructure, so running the server, the hardware server, and all the software that's running along with it, be it a database, a forum, a wiki, whatever's out there. Also deploy new versions if it's provided by other developers. And he organizes and leads development for infrastructure and client. Also organizes GitHub repositories. We have an organization on GitHub as we are an open source project. Yeah. Then we have the game counselor. The game counselor is like the expert on game development. So like the balance counselor, he's also deep into the Lua code of the game. But the game counselor is, in his role, is focusing on the featured mods overall and is not dealing with balance. So it's not just the regular FA game, it's also other featured mods. But it's sort of varies. Yeah. So we also have people dedicated to some particular featured mods. But yeah, the game counselor needs to coordinate, organize, and lead game development, as changes to the base game can break other mods and other featured mods. Then we have the Maps and Mods counselor. As the name implies, he's responsible for the map and mod vault. His overall goal is to improve the quality in the vault. We want to have awesome maps and awesome mods that don't break, that are fair to play with, that don't have any way of cheating. They are supposed to look awesome. They need to be balanced. And for that, the Map and Mods counselor is also managing the rule set on what kind of maps and mods are allowed and what is not allowed. The moderation counselor is responsible for the rules of our community. Basically, this affects every user. You might have noticed some players get a bit salty when they lose. Some just don't know how to behave, and for these cases we have moderation guidelines in several places, in the IRC chat, in the Discord, in the forums, and the moderation counselor organizes all these different moderation teams. The player counselor is a representative of the community, so basically you, and he's your voice to raise concerns and problems if you have some. Not technical problems, but more like problems on how FAF is developing and what's wrong with FAF maybe, or what we can make better in terms of play experience. He's responsible also for the tournaments, for tournament rules and guidelines, and works closely together with tournament directors. Then last but not least we have the promotion counselor, who aims to grow the FAF player base and increases awareness to FAF projects, as we have quite a lot, and is also responsible for the social media channels. Okay, so in the following slides you will see a lot of references to these counselors, and I will use these badges and the colors to show you who covers which area. So if you need to, just come back to this slide to get the names. And yeah, so in FAF we have 5 different areas of contributions, and yeah, maybe you could even say this is the actual order of importance, because operations is topic number 1. Without operations nobody would be able to play. Then community work, if the community isn't alive, then there's no fun in playing here. Then you have content creation, what that is and what that means you will see. Then you have the classic development, and last but not least you have donations. Okay, so what is it about operations? Basically, to run FAF we need more or less these 6 roles. So we have global moderators, which are responsible for dealing with complaints about players and misbehaves, cheating, all sorts of. They have the ability to warn players and ban players, and eventually ban them forever if there's no change in behavior. Actually, we lack moderators because it's a very tough job. You have to deal with a lot of shit, and a lot of people don't respect you. So kudos to all these moderators. It's an important job, and the FAF experience wouldn't be the same without them. And you can't be everywhere. That's why this role is split up also into other channels, like we have dedicated forum moderators, dedicated IRC moderators, dedicated Discord moderators. So if you want to become a moderator, maybe you don't want to start like as a global moderator, maybe you want to start in one channel that you know of. Maybe you know how to run IRC, maybe you know how to run Discord, maybe you know our crappy PBB forum. Then you can apply for this. Then we have technical support. Oh, by the way, all the global moderators, no surprise, they are under the moderation counselor, no surprise there. Then we have technical supporters, and technical supporters come in all sorts of ways. So if you look into Discord, we have a technical help channel. If you look in the forums, we have help sections, and if you look in the Aeolus chat, you will see that people have problems. Also on Steam and everywhere. So technical supporter means basically anything to help other players who struggle with, for example, installation of the client, problems with the registration process, problem with the games, maybe their settings are wrong, maybe they have driver issues or whatever. And if you are experienced with the game or with the installation process, you can help out these people. Mostly you would think all of these questions could be answered by the developers, but the developers, like, we are not that many people and we can't spend most of our free time on doing this support. That's why we rely on these technical supporters, and from my experience these supporters, if they do it for longer time, they know even more tricks than the actual developers do to solve problems. So this is a very, very important role. And you don't need any qualifications to start on doing that. You just jump into one channel and start helping people. If you don't know the answer, you can always ask a developer or ask somewhere else who already solved this problem. Sometimes it's just helping people in a different language. We have an influx of Russian players who are not that good in speaking English, for example, and then you could maybe help them in their problem. Maybe the problem already happened in an English post or whatever. Then we have server admins. Basically, there are 3 right now, and as you can imagine, 3 admins is not much, as we all just have a bit spare time. But it's also a very sensitive position, because you have access to all the private details of every user, and this is why we are very very sensitive on that topic to onboard new server admins. Also there, it's a very important topic, so without the server there would be no lobby running. So technical supporter and server admin are both on the role of the DevOps counselor, as it's mostly related to software problems. Yeah, and this is basically the whole operations team. Okay, then let's come to the community. So community basically means create content, or not content, but create awareness for the community, help people to understand the game, to make the game more interesting, and spread out knowledge in different languages. So for example, we have trainers. These are usually higher ranked players who know a lot about the game and who have an interest in training either completely new people or people who struggle to get beyond a certain point, who need advice on that. And we have a small team of very active trainers, all with different, let's say, settings on what they expect you to have, or a new player to have, or any player to have, so they train you. And becoming a trainer is very simple. Maybe you should make up a concept or something, but then you advertise yourself on the forums, and then you just help people. Yeah, be it in Discord, be it via chat, replay analysis, playing against them, whatever. Then we have streamers. Streamers are usually also pretty high-ranked players, but not necessarily. But usually the high-ranked players have a higher view count, as it's usually more interesting to see the very good people play. And on the other hand, we have casters. For casters, you run replays and you comment about them. So for a caster, you don't necessarily need to be a very good player, but you need to be more the entertaining guy. Yeah? So you have these 2 different ways on how you could promote cool games or run your own games. Then we have tournament directors. Tournament directors are a very interesting position. So basically you can create your own set of tournament rules, be it double elimination or Swiss system or whatever you come up with, or run a league. You can set the rules for qualifications, for rating levels, or whatever. You can also set prices. Many tournament directors run this from their own money. Some get money from the official FAF funds, and some collect money by other people. Especially if the prices go high, the finals are usually like very, very good, high quality games that people love to stream and to cast. And then we have translators. So basically everything in FAF right now is originally written in English, and we want to get a higher player base, so we have players from all over the world. If you check our website, you can actually see where they are coming from, and it's all over Europe. It's all over Asia. It's also Australia and the and America. So we have all sorts of languages. And yeah, we need people to translate all the knowledge that we have, be it news, be it client translations, or whatever. Yeah, so basically, trainers and tournament directors, if you're interested in this, contact the player counselor or see what the current resources already are. There's some stuff on the forums. Streamer, caster, translators, like translators in terms of news or something like that, would be associated to our promotions counselor. If you want to start translating, for example, our client or anything development related, then you should contact the DevOps counselor. For example, in the client, there's a particular tool we use for translations, and you don't need to deal with GitHub and complex Git commands. You just register for a website, you can put in the translations there, and then or fix up some other translations, and then they will end up in the client eventually automatically. Yeah, so that's it about community and how you could bring in yourself there. Then we have the content creation. And content creation is a very broad topic. So we have the classic content being maps and mods. If you check our map vault or our mod vault, it's huge. There are quite some differences though. So maps, you can create maps with just textures and the map editor, and then you're done. But some maps also have like additional coding involved, like these adaptive maps. So it depends on your skill and what you want to do. You also have the choice between the original Supreme Commander map editor or also the Ozonics map editor, which is a custom development. Very interesting stuff. And then for mods, it's a bit more complicated. But the scale of the modding is up to you. We have a very active modding community in the forum, for example, but also on their own Discord, who are eager to answer all of your questions. And we have basically everything from resource multiplication to all ACUs at spawn, back to complete new factions or basically gameplay style with I don't know, leveling of units, or so much stuff. It's incredible. However, if you want to go into modding, you should see this as a long-term investment, because mods might break over time as there are changes to the underlying base game, and yeah, it would be a shame if you invest a lot of time in your mod and then it breaks and nobody can play it again and you don't have the time or the interest to keep it running. Alternatively, you could then also hand it over to somebody else. Yeah. Okay, so this is about regular mapping and modding. Another interesting thing, which is sort of a combination of both, is co-op mission makers. So you might have noticed the co-op tab in the client. So you can make maps with some authentic story content, just like the original subcom campaign, but maybe with a little bit more interesting stuff and a little bit more difficulty. If you're interested in this, as you can see here, the assigned counselors are game counselor and DevOps counselor. So regarding development, the game counselor can give you an aid on that, and the DevOps counselor is responsible for deploying this on the servers, as co-op missions cannot be just uploaded like other maps and mods. It's a bit more complicated. Yeah, then we have artists of any kind, and if I say any kind, I really mean any kind. So we have, of course, people making, let's say, graphics or cool videos about FA Forever. We also have people building Lego Fat Boys. We have people printing monkey lords in 3D. We have people creating music for the game, and it can be anything. And anything can be cool if it's related to FA Forever. The only thing I would like to ask you is choose a free license so that we can use it and that other people can build on top of it. Maybe check out the Creative Commons license. There's some stuff where you can say you just choose some criteria and say and get a proposal on what you should do. We need you for anything. We need you for promotion. We need you for game development, maybe for mapping, modding. Whatever you come up with, contact us or just share your work in the forums. And people love it. Then we have web designers, we don't have many of them, but we need them for the website, for the clients, especially CSS. We're lacking skills there. So if you are skilled in there, contact the promotions counselor, contact the DevOps counselor, or check the website repository on GitHub, for example. Then we have also tutorial makers. So tutorial makers, that splits up into different things. So a tutorial can be an explanation in text, written down how to achieve something, be it installing the game, be it how to make a map or a mod. Then we have people making tutorials on how to play the game on YouTube, or how to achieve, how to run the software, how to compile it, whatever. Then we have, and that's the most advanced stuff, tutorials that people can play and that explains how the game is working. So this is why you see so many counselors on here. It depends on what you want to do, but making it easier for people to come to FAF or to make the contributions like this video here. We need this. We are such a cool community. But if you look at the amount of people actually contributing to the amount of people playing every month, there's huge potential. Yeah, and you have potential, and we want you to use it. Yeah, it's for the community, it's for the best, and yes, I'm excited. I hope you can hear it. Okay, and now we come to the classic topic on development. So we have balanced development. So for balanced development, you don't need to be a good coder in Lua. It's more about understanding the game mechanics and what a change in attack or speed is doing to the whole game. So basically, you play around with numbers, but you don't necessarily need to code a lot of stuff. Yeah? And there's already an existing balanced dev team. Contact the balance counselor. Check out the Discord. I will come to test this later. Let's talk about the rest first. So then we have the classic game development, improving the game in terms of there's so many places. So improve, let's say, the UI. For example, what was there, like the right click on a T2 max that automatically then schedules the mass storages and stuff like that. There's so many improvements over time that have been made, like target selection or automatic overcharge. It's just a few examples on what can be done. But there are also a lot of bugs that need to be fixed somehow, and we also have some really, really hardcore guys who are patching the original Xe engine and add new features that are not available via the Lua code. So this is also an option to you if you're interested in that. And then we have the classic backend developer. That's, for example, what I do. Work on the lobby server, work on the database, work on our API, or the website. Then we have the client developers who work on the Java client or on also alternative clients. There's some projects out there. Also, we have tool developers. So a tool can be anything. I already talked about the new map editor from Ozonix, which is a very cool thing. So he built this thing from scratch, and now we have a map editor that is probably better than the original one. But we also have other funny tools like a FAF quiz or some analytics that tell you how much time you wasted on FAF, or uh, yeah, maybe a replay parser. There's so much potential out there. So for the bottom three, you can talk to the DevOps counselor, and most of the stuff on this page also happens on GitHub. So if you check out our repositories, you can see what's happening there. And now I come back to the card that I left out, so the testers. Yeah. So everything we change has a problem that people need to test it out in a broader area. And we seriously lack testers. And the good thing about testers is you don't need to know coding. Maybe even knowing coding makes you a worse tester. For example, for me, I'm a really horrible tester because I usually test it in a way where I expect it to work. But if somebody who doesn't know how it's supposed to work clicks on something else, the whole shit is on fire. And that's what we want to find out, right? Because if you just click around and make errors, we can fix them. But we would maybe sometimes never think about like clicking somewhere where we're not supposed to do. So becoming a tester is so easy. I mean, it depends on what you're doing, but for example, on the game, so we have a dedicated featured mod for balance testing. You just need to run games there, and then you can see the current changes and give feedback in the balance forums. Same for game dev, we have a dedicated featured mod that says FAF develop, where you see the latest changes. You can search for bugs, you can ask the people what has changed and look in there for particular changes. For example, in the client, you can become a tester in the settings and click an option that you get notified if there's a release candidate out there for a new client, so you always run on the latest changes that are not rolled out to the public yet because they need testing. And I hope I made it clear, so testers are required everywhere. There's a broad area on how you can help. So if you don't know coding, but you're interested in playing around with the latest features, just contact us and we have tons of stuff for testing. Okay, basically that's it around development. The last topic is donations. There are a few ways to donate to FAF. The primary way is our Patreon. Basically it's associated to the administration counselor, but you don't need to do anything, so you can do it on the webpage. Patreon is a service especially for this, and you can give your money there. You can run tournaments yourself, or you can give the money to other people, or if you don't know, you can ask the player counselor who might need it. Then we have this feature of GitHub issue funding, so if you have an annoying issue, you can basically give a bounty on this. Let's say, I don't know, 10 euros, 5 euros, 50 euros, whatever it's worth for you. Who fixes this issue will then get the money. I still need to tell you, most of the no of the developers right now work for the money. Yeah, we do it for the fun. So it's it's no guarantee that your problem will get fixed, and it also depends on how complex it is. And sometimes issues sound easy, but they take years to be fixed for whatever reason. But again, issue funding on GitHub can be done via the issue. So each issue has a bottom footer. There should be a link where you can click on it. And yeah, if you want to do any bigger personal investments, then please contact the counselor of your topic and we'll see what we can do with your money. Yeah. Okay, so even though we talked about donations and money, the most important thing for me is time is more important than money. Yes, your donations are welcome. We need them to run FAF, but nobody on the team is motivated by money right now, and most of us have a regular job, and sending us money won't buy us more free time. Yeah. I know in the past, when it was, for example, run by the pilot, he was working on it for a few months full time, and he needed the money to keep going. We are no longer in this situation right now. Yeah, we have a few students who might be interested in that. But again, you really have a hard time if you say, yeah, we have so much money now, hand it out to the developers. Question is, how do you do it fair, and like, is every developer worth the same, because is he investing the same amount of time and quality and whatever? Basically, we don't really want to deal with this. It's a very complicated topic. And in the end, it's an open source project, and people work on things that makes fun for them, and fun is what keeps us motivated. So yes, you can donate if you want to, but we rather have your time. We rather need your work. Yeah? We prefer your time and personal investment over your money. That's the best way to help FAF stay and grow and become better. Yeah, and I hope you got an insight that everybody can help on something. No programming skills needed at all. Yes, in certain areas, of course, it is needed, but moderation doesn't need programming skills. Testing doesn't need programming skills. And translation doesn't need programming skills. There's so many areas that where you can make your hobby or your enthusiasm and put it into something productive. Yeah? And if you need advice, then you can contact us. Like, pick the associated counselor and contact him on Discord or on the forums or on the client chat. We are available in so many channels, and if you don't get the right counselor because you don't see him in that channel, then ask another one, ask a moderator. We will come into contact, or make a forum thread. We will probably see it. Okay, basically that's it. I hope you learned something. I hope you understand that we need everybody on board to make FAF not great again, but even greater. Well then, thanks a lot. And if you want to learn more, then check out our YouTube channel and check our contribution page on the website. And that's it from me. Goodbye.